think twice, my shooter in the view. 10th grade, bought a frame, peel off the licks. Pikes hit, feel like I'm cruising on the ship. It's your birthday, put some ice on your wrist. I reached every goal, had to write another list. I'm struggling on toe, I just biting on the lip. I fly across the globe and I call another hit. They watching cause they know how slimy he can get. I'm running to the top, I'm bottom of the ditch. He think rap burn and he running out of hits. Say the wrong word, I'm shoot him in. He's a big dog, you a poodle, I'm a pit. My choice is dog just as far as I can spit.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to another episode of KLA Sports. I'm your host Kyle Alexander, and today as you can see we're doing something a little different here. I'm standing up, I'm not sitting down. I have my mic right here because I actually got a new camera, and today I decided to do a video where I just stand up, talk about just something popular, something that's going on in the league. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into this video. And today we are going to be looking at today we're going to be looking at Damian Lillard trade packages. Now I know he just came out and said that the request was false, but we still don't know what's going to happen. The Portland themselves could just be like, no, we're just going to blow it up or whatever. So we're just going to look into them. Without further ado, I have 6 trade packages for certain teams. Now I'm not saying these are realistic or these are probably some of the more realistic ones, but I'm not saying there's like, oh, this is going to happen, or, oh, they would definitely say yes. I'm just looking at trades. I just threw together trades that both teams could probably look at and say, all right, I could agree to that. So first one is for my Chicago Bulls. We're starting the Dame to Chicago pipeline here. So in this package, we have the Chicago Bulls receiving Damian Lillard, and in return, the Trailblazers get Thaddeus Young, Kobe White, 3 first-round picks, and a sign and trade with Lauri Markkanen. Now, I feel like this could work out for both teams. Chicago, they just got Vucevic at the deadline. Levine says he wants to stay in Chicago. He has 1 year left. Vucevic has 2 years left. And Dame, he has 4 years left on his contract. So it's not like, oh, we have to get Dame to sign him up. Just worry about signing Levine, Vucevic, and then bam. You have your big 3. Now, on the other hand, Thaddeus Young, he's only moving because of the cap to make the money side of the trade work. Kobe White, you get another young point guard who's still on his rookie deal, to replace Damian Lillard. Not replace, but, you get him in exchange for Damian Lillard. And he's a nice little scorer. He can score. He has his games. I feel like he's a little inconsistent, but if maybe a change of scenery can help him. You get 3 first-round picks. Now, I'm not turning out 3 first-round picks. And then you get Lauri Markkanen on a sign and trade, who I feel is one of the more underrated players from his draft. I believe he's 2017 draft. And, he's a stretch big. He can shoot the ball. Just don't put him at center, but you have Nurkic at center, so he can be that power forward to play center. He can be that power forward that can stretch the ball, can shoot, and it gives you some young talent, and you have 3 first-round picks to pair with those 2. And Thaddeus Young, like I said, he's only there for the money. He's $14 million left on 1 year. So, not saying that this works out. The only negative about this for Chicago is the fact that I'm gonna look at the negatives for the teams that's getting named. The negative is the fact that this isn't the best trade package out there. Obviously, there's more teams that have more trade assets, more valuable assets than Chicago. So maybe they just say no, we don't like that. We can get something better. Like we can get Benjamin Simmons or something. But I feel like both teams could look at this option. Moving on to the next one. Speaking of Benjamin Simmons, that's actually the next trade. So I have the 76ers receiving Damian Lillard, and in return, the Trailblazers get Ben Simmons, Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, and 2 first-round picks. Again, positives. Philly, you realize the process didn't work with Ben Simmons, so we say, you know what? Even though Ben Simmons has been like a cornerstone of the process, and no, it hasn't worked out. We're going to get Damian Lillard on his 4-year contract. He can be that shot creator. He can control it. He can run the floor. He's a shooter. We all know him and Steph are like the 2 best shooters in the league, you could say, at least for I'll say for point guards. What else? You get somebody who can space the floor, so that way Embiid doesn't have to space the floor. So for Ben Simmons, or it doesn't clog up anything. It gives you more space and shot creating. What else? And that makes you an automatic contender. I feel like if the Sixers get Dame for Simmons, they win the East. I feel like they can win the East at least. That puts them, they at least get to the conference finals. They could probably win the East. In return, the Trailblazers get defense. They get Ben Simmons, who can play point guard. If you want to play him at point guards, oh wow, he can be that Draymond Green type of player, play that role. Also, he can guard the 1 through 5, so that gives you defense on a team that hasn't had defense in a while. Speaking of defense, you get Matisse Thybulle too, so that gives you defense on the bench. He's a great guard. He's a nice disruptive defender. Yeah, Shake Milton, he can score. He can control the ball a little bit. And the only expensive contract really is Ben Simmons. You have everybody for at least 2+ years, and then you get the 2 first-round picks. You get their first-round pick this year at pick 28, so you don't have a first-round pick this year, but you get so you automatically get one this year and then one in 2023. I'm trying to think of some negatives, I guess. Maybe they say they want 3, or maybe this might be a little too much. Like maybe the Sixers are like, no, we're not doing all that for Dame, which I think they should, but I could see this working out for both teams, especially with the Trailblazers, because you can get more if you trade CJ, even though they said they weren't going to trade CJ. Like I said, if they want to blow it up, you can get more for CJ, Robert Covington, or get whoever else is on the trade block. All right, the third deal. And this is a team I actually want to see Dame go to. My two main teams I was saying Dame should go to were the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat. I didn't do one for the Bucks because they're in the finals, and yeah, they could get better because teams get better. You just paid Drew. All right, and we're back. Sorry, my camera died. It says just bought a camera, so this is my first time. But we're back. So, like I was saying before, there's 2 teams I see Dame going to, or that I would love to see Dame go to, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat. Like I said, the Bucks are already in the finals, even though they can get better, because every team can get better. I think they're just going to sit with what they have with Giroux and Middleton. Even though if you ask people, obviously you're going to take Dame over Giroux, but I'm just going to leave them alone. So I have one for the Miami Heat, and this package is Miami receives Damian Lillard, and in return the Trailblazers get Tyler Hero, Precious Achiuwa, I don't know if I butchered his last name, Victor Oladipo on a sign and trade, and then 2 first-round picks, 1 in 24 and 1 in 27. Some positives, if you're Miami, you're restocking up, showing people that, that wasn't the bubble, and then also you're realizing that Tyler Hero is not an untouchable. I don't know why everybody on NBA Twitter was just like, I'm not trading Tyler Hero for James Harden. Now, me personally, I wasn't saying Tyler Hero is untouchable. I was just saying if I'm Miami, I was like, no, I don't know. I would leave it alone. Even though it was James Harden, I was like, no, I would just leave it alone because they have a young core. After what happened last year in the bubble, I'm thinking, all right, they can replicate that and you have that long term. But looking back at it, yeah, they should have traded for Harden. But I'm not sitting there saying, I'm not trading Hero for Harden because he's untouchable. Tyler Hero is not a goddamn untouchable. I'm trying not to curse on it because, we try to stay family oriented. But, so you get Tyler Hero. You realize he's not an untouchable, even though that may hurt Jimmy Butler because him and Jimmy Butler are close. But, you give up Tyler Hero, realize he's not untouchable. Then you give up Precious Achiuwa. And you give up first-round picks. But, you have a young team. You have Duncan Robinson. Kendrick Nunn, I don't know. Well, he's going into free agency, so there are some questions there. But for the main part, you have your best young player was Bam Adebayo. You have him locked up on the max extension. Got to get Jimmy Butler on the extension, and you have the cap space too. So, like I said, Dame's on there for 4 years, so you have the cap space. Now for the Trailblazers, you get Tyler Hero, who can either be a replacement if you do move on from CJ McCollum, or you can just use him as like a 6-man. You get 2 first-round picks. It's not 3, but you get 2, so that helps somewhat. Then you get Precious Achiuwa, who can be a defensive force off the bench or maybe plays way into a starting role. And then you get Oladipo, who you could either expand this and use him in another trade or just keep him and like move him at the deadline. Oladipo, he's just like that movable piece. He just bounces around. But so you get some assets and some young talent in return. I'm really trying to think of a negative. I don't really know if I really have a negative. I think it's just with Tyler Hero because I'm pretty sure him and Jimmy are pretty good friends. So that might hurt that a little, but it's a business. So I don't really see any negatives with this. I think this would be a good move in Miami. Might be back in the conference finals. We don't know. They might be back in the finals. We don't know. Next trade. Now this is one. For some reason I just don't get it. I don't know why, but it's the Golden State Warriors. And personally, I don't see Dame going to the Warriors because the Warriors don't need another guard. And what are you going to do there? I mean, yeah, they could probably use one off the bench, especially with the Klay Thompson injury. Like looking back at it, they probably could have used LaMelo for the Klay Thompson injury, but nothing is like last year in the draft. LaMelo Ball. Everybody's like, oh, Golden State should get LaMelo over Wiseman. I'm like, no, they have Clay. You have Steph and Clay. None out of those three, including LaMelo, none of those three are coming off the bench. Unless you put Melo at the 2, Klay Thompson at the 3. I think Klay Thompson can play small forward, but he's not a bad defender. He can play small forward, but he's going up against bigger guys and LeBron James, Kevin Durant, maybe Giannis or Middleton. I'm trying to think of who else. You're just going up against bigger forwards, and I'm not going to trust that. I mean, he can guard them, maybe help the defense, but I'm not going to have him guard LeBron for the whole game, So, again, I just don't understand this. But, if that's if that's what y'all want to do, if that's what Golden State wants to do, go ahead. Now, my thing is, here's the package, actually. So, the Warriors get Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers get Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and 3 first-round picks. 2 of those 3 being 7 and 14 in this year's lottery. Now, I actually saw this from Kenny Beecham's channel or Call Game. So, shout out to Kenny Beecham. But he was saying, because one of the packages he looked over, it had the only Warriors getting up to 7th, and he said, if I'm the Trailblazers, I want 7 and 14, because the Warriors, they kind of been like y'all enemy, or they've been in your way, and you're giving them Damian Lillard next to Steph, like I said, the 2 best shooters in terms of point guards in the league. So if I'm them, I'm like, I don't want to make them better. First of all, I'm not even going to look at this first. My first thing is going to be get him in the East, get him out the West, And if Golden State has the best offer, I'm like, I want 7 and 14. I want to hurt them in any way possible, because if they get Dame, they're going to be running the West, and you don't want that if you're Portland, because they've already been owning you. They already been beating you guys and running the West. Why would you help them out? I mean, yeah, the thing is, it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, draft picks are hit or miss, but at the same time, you get 7 and 14. You can package that for another star in terms of like a CJ trade, or you can just maybe you get somebody good at 7 and 14, or trade those up to get like a top 3 pick, get like a Jalen Green. We don't know. So, but I want 7 and 14 if I'm Portland. Only negative with Golden State, like I said, is Golden State, one, they get shooters, but like I said, the only negative is just, what are you going to do with Steph, Dame, and Clay? Are you putting Clay at the 3? We know Dame not coming off the bench. Dame, Steph, or Clay not coming off the bench. Maybe they send Draymond in this package. I know they're not sending Clay, but maybe. But yeah, I just don't really see that working out. I don't know. But if you're Golden State, if y'all want to do that, go ahead. Yeah, I'm not running the team, so. Alright, sorry about that, YouTube. We're back, and I'm wearing something different because, video got a little messed up. Like I said, it's my first time with the camera, so don't judge me too much. But, so where I leave off with, I left off with Golden State, and then we have 2 trades left. So the first one we'll talk about, or at least the 5th one, is Damian Lillard to the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'll pop the trade up right here. So we have the Damian Lillard going to the Pelicans, and in exchange, the Trailblazers get Steven Adams, Brandon Ingram, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, their first round pick this year, the 10th overall pick, and then a first round in 2022 and a first in 2023, both of those from the Lakers. Now, I think this is a good trade for both sides. If you're the Pelicans, you're hearing rumors that, Zion's family wants him to leave, and it's like, oh, well, we don't want that because we just traded everything. We just traded Anthony Davis, and we got Zion to be the replacement, so we want to keep him here, And if you get Damian Lillard to pair with him, I think that makes you a playoff team. Now, the only thing is, well, I'm not going to lie. When I first did this trade, I didn't put Brandon Ingram in there because if I'm the Pelicans, I'm like, I don't want to give up Brandon Ingram. But you have to look at who you're getting. You're getting Damian Lillard. And yes, what is he, like 30? Dame is like 30, 31. So you're getting Dame, but he's on a 4-year deal. He still has 4 years left on his contract. And you're going to have to give up Brandon Ingram. You just signed him to the max extension. He's a young, most improved player. Young, top 2-way player on the rise. But Yes, you're gonna have to. You can't unless they do a sign and trade with Lonzo, and they're fine with that. But I feel Brandon Ingram is going to be the main piece in this trade, and Steven Adams, I just threw him there for the money side, just to get his contract off, because I don't think he's a long-term answer in New Orleans. He is 28, but he's not going to be their long-term center. You got Jackson Hayes for that, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He can be that future starting point guard next to C.J. McCollum. And then you have 3 first-round picks. Now, some people might be like, "Oh, this is excessive," but look at who's doing the trade: the Pelicans. They just got they got a young core. They got the Lakers' young core, and they got the draft picks. So they have the draft capital to make a trade of this caliber. So they're giving up the 10th pick this year, but you're getting Damian Lillard with 4 years left on his deal. So then Lonzo walks. Like I said, unless you do a sign and trade with Lonzo, Lonzo walks, and it's like, all right, we can just replace him with Dame. And then you can look at getting a small forward. But I think this works out for both teams. And Trailblazers, if they want, they can move on from Steven Adams, move him somewhere else. But yeah, I think this works out for both teams. And the last trade, another thing with the Pelicans too is, if I'm Zion, I'm like, listen, the 2 players drafted right after me both made the playoffs this year, and my teammate RJ Barrett, who went 3rd overall, wait, no, he didn't win a series. I don't know why I got that. I was about to say he won a series. No, he didn't. But, both of those teams made the playoffs. One did it through the play-in, one did it with just the playoff spot. And I'm like, I'm still here struggling to get a playoff spot. So, front office, I need to do something, make a move, get him and Damian Lillard, the lob threat, just the chemistry between those two. I think that could be something beautiful. All right, and the last trade that we have today here is Damian Lillard going to the New York Knicks. And I know Knicks fans have been looking for a point guard. They've been rumored to get Lonzo, Dame, Chris Paul, but I feel like New York would be a good destination for him. The Knicks, they had a good year. They're not the laughing stock of the league anymore, so maybe they could be a contender. And they say Dame's like, you know what? Or maybe they're like, no, let's go after Dame. So in this trade, I have the Knicks getting Damian Lillard, and in return, the Trailblazers get Kevin Knox, R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, 3 first-round picks, one of them being the 21st pick this year that they received from the Mavericks. Now, if you're the Knicks, you get a facilitator who can help with the passing game a lot. The Knicks weren't a really good passing team. That's because they didn't really have great point guard play, and Julius Randle was taking up most of the usage rate. So we got Julius Randle handling the ball most of the time. He's I didn't change, but he's he's not really a great passer. Whereas you got like a Chris Paul or a Dame, or if you had a real point guard, that can help you out a lot more. But he can shoot the lights out. It gives you great upgrade, and that gives you another scoring option. Only negative for the Knicks is, yes, you're losing R.J. Barrett, and I like what they had with Barrett and Randle, but you get Damian Lillard, who can be that first option, and Randle could probably go to that second option, where he would probably be more suited at when he's because we saw this past year in the playoffs. It was his first playoff series, and he was the main guy, and it didn't really work out. So maybe it might have been like first time jitters or something like that. But that can take the load off of him, and that takes the load off of Lillard too. And Lillard goes to a great defensive team. Knicks were a top 5 defensive team last year. Whereas the Trailblazers, you get R.J. Barrett, who is a really underrated shooting guard, especially from his draft class, because you look at his classes. Oh, you got Zion and Ja is mainly between those two, but Barrett, his rookie year, Barrett was top 5 in each major statistical stat category, and he's gotten better this year. He's shown that he can be that second option, and he can be that wing guard, that two-way wing guard. So, that can be their replacement for CJ if they move on from him, and he can be the long-term answer backcourt. Kevin Knox, hasn't really been too great. I bought into the Paul George comparison. I thought Knox was going to be great, but, he hasn't really panned out on the Knicks. So, maybe a change of scenery can help him. And if he goes to a rebuild team, that could be his chance to break out. He can be a scorer or a two-way player, reach his potential. But if it doesn't work out, worst case scenario, he has 1 year left on his contract with an option. Yeah, with a team option, so you can just bench him until and decline his option, or you can trade him at the deadline if you want. So yeah, I feel like it's not really a bad option. And then I feel like it's not like you lose because you can try to get him to reach his potential, but then also if you don't, you just have him come off the bench. Then you get Obi Toppin. Now we saw Obi Toppin hasn't really panned out to be the guy that we all thought he was going to be, but that's because he's playing behind Julius Randle and then Mitchell Robinson. I know he's kind of like a small ball center, but he's playing behind those two. But playing behind Randle has hindered his talent, and because Randall broke out and was the runaway and was the runaway guy for most improved, and he's been a great scorer. He's been a great scorer. He's been their best player. So and we saw Obi Toppin show some flashes of potential in the playoffs. So maybe a change of scenery. Either. So maybe a change of scenery can help him out, and he can play his way into a starting role for Portland. And then you get 3 first-round draft picks. You get one this year when you didn't have one, and there's supposed to be a deep draft class. Maybe they get like a Trey Mann at 21. I don't really know who's supposed to go where outside of like the top 5 to 6, but yeah, you have the draft capital to get some young players around RJ and Obi Toppin. Alright, that is going to be it for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you agree with these trade packages and why, or if you disagree in the comment section below. Also, let me know what are some of your trade packages for teams I might have left off. Like, if you're one of those Lakers fans that's saying, oh, we're getting Damian Lillard and we're trading everybody else for him, then by all means, go ahead, comment, and just let me know. As long as it's valid, I'll look at it. But, just don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will talk to you guys next time.